Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Adorn and Grace podcast. I am your host, Courtney Charmel, and I'm glad that you're back with us for another week. I'm honestly kind of proud of myself for showing up continually. I know there's a couple weeks where we took off for different reasons, but I'm just trying to stay obedient. But today was kind of hard to show up, if I'm being honest. There is some technical difficulties happening. I'm filming this way later than I planned on, and just kind of a lot of stuff going on today where I honestly did not want to show up. I wanted to quit, push it off for another week, and yeah, just like hide under my covers or something. But I am trying to just stay consistent and stay obedient. I'm still struggling with the fact that I am low key a perfectionist, and if I don't show up perfect, then I don't want to show up at all. But that's not what the Lord is asking of me. That's not what the Lord is asking of any of us. He knows we're not perfect. None of us are. He just wants us to show up the way we are, authentically. And I'm trying to work on doing that because that's a little uncomfortable for me. Being vulnerable is a little uncomfortable for me. I'm used to showing my hard exterior, but when I am with myself or with the Lord, it is the complete opposite. I was kind of studying Ecclesiastes, and I've been in that book for honestly 2 weeks at this point, just studying it and meditating on it and sitting with it. And the idea of things being hevel. Um, that's kind of how the book opens up with the teacher saying that life is hevel. It's all hevel. And I know a lot of translations will say that life is meaningless, or everything is meaningless, or everything is vapor and smoke, and all these things. But the Hebrew translation is hevel, and it does mean vapor and smoke. And when you think about the idea of vapor and smoke, you can't necessarily grab onto it. If you try to grab it, it's gonna kind of go through your fingers. You can't like contain it or try to control it. Um, and sometimes you may not even be able to see it, but it's there, right? So again, I was just kind of meditating on that. And I have been going through a season of trying to make sure that I show up, just in general. Like I said, it's easy for me to be like, well, if I don't show up this certain way, I'm just not going to show up at all. It's not good enough. Um, and not only trying to show up a certain way, but feeling like that's the only way that I can accomplish my goals and achieve this life that I kind of dreamed for myself, or even the life that the Lord has told me that He wants me to have. And I think that's where it kind of hits home with reading Ecclesiastes, because the teacher talks about trying to find wisdom and trying to kind of find the answer to life through pleasure and through work and through studying and through all of these kind of earthly things. And not to say that work is bad, not to say that trying to have wisdom or be wise is bad, or trying to attain wealth or whatever the case may be. But I think I've realized that the hyperfixation of those things and thinking that that is what's going to kind of give you the final answer to life is the problem. It's like it's chasing after the wind, like the teacher says in Ecclesiastes. It's kind of an endless chase for something that you're not going to get. You're not going to get what you think you're looking for. And I remember last week, I was going on a walk on Saturday, and I did like a different trail than I usually do. And I hadn't been really walking consistently, like I was, because with a lot of things in my life, I will pick it up and put it down for however long, and then kind of beat myself up about not continuing doing it. So anyway, I was just kind of going on a walk, and the Lord was like, don't listen to any music. Don't like try to distract yourself. Just walk and just kind of enjoy the scenery. If you want to take pictures of the palm trees, take pictures. If you want to take videos of the water, take videos of the water. Like, just be present and in the moment. And for a while on the walk, I was just kind of walking and just trying to do what he said. I was tempted to go on my phone while I was walking or try to listen to music while I was walking, but the Holy Spirit was like, stop it. um and while I was walking, I just remember halfway through the trail, that's when the Lord kind of spoke to me, and he was like, this is all I'm asking for you to do. I'm just asking for you to walk in what I've called you to do. Like, I've called you to these things not on a condition that you show up a certain way, uh, but just simply that you show up. And it's been a struggle for me to try to be perfect. It's been a struggle for me to feel like I have to show up so that people will receive me, so that people will keep me around, so that people will see my worth in all these things. But we serve a God that sees our worth, that values us, that keeps us around just because he simply loves us in spite of our mess ups, in spite of our habitual sin, in spite of our sin patterns, whatever you want to call it, our transgressions. He still loves us regardless. I know, even when I just kind of think back on when I was younger, and I say that as if I'm not only 28, but um I just kind of think back on when I was like in college, for example. There was a lot of things that I did for outward validation and for social acceptance. I was smoking weed, I was fornicating, I was shacking up, I was just, I was drinking, I was partying, I was getting drunk, I was doing all of these things, and it was all to like prove that I was worth keeping around. It was all to prove that I was worth loving and worth valuing, and that's even stemmed from like having kind of daddy issues that I am currently in therapy for. Um where although I know it wasn't his intention, but there is some kind of abandonment issues there of him maybe being there physically and financially, but he wasn't there emotionally and mentally, um because he didn't know how. And I know that that has kind of showed up in my relationship with the Lord, where he has plainly told me, the way you have your relationship with your father and the way you see that relationship, you are treating me as if I'm going to do you the same way. And that's just not true. The Lord loves us so much that he died on the cross for our sins, that he was a perfect person. He had no sin, he made no mistakes, and yet he still chose to die on the cross to take on sin that he never made. And I think that in this season of my walk, I have really sat with that and really kind of carried that on my shoulders. Just the gravity of what all of that means. And that's why I can say, at least partly, because I'm still studying it, that I understand what the teacher means when he says it's all hevel. All of these earthly things don't matter. And I know I said it in the last episode, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but it really doesn't. All of these earthly things don't matter. We can't get caught up in letting the things of this world that we can't take with us when we go on to glory dictate who we are, dictate our worth, dictate anything, literally anything. I think it's kind of heartbreaking to think that the Lord just simply wants to love us and wants to be there for us, but we're constantly searching for outside things to fill the void that He will only ever be able to fill. Like, I was using marijuana to fill a void. I was using sexual immorality to fill a void. And especially when it came to my sexual immorality, and whether it was with somebody else or even with myself, I dealt with self pleasure for a while. And I can't even say that I'm still like over that hump because I still face temptation. But it was out of a place of lack, and it was out of a place of like, well, if I give myself away in this way, then maybe they will feel like I'm worth it. Maybe they will love me, maybe they will care, because like I had some sort of understanding that like, oh, this is the utmost like way to show that you love somebody, but it was outside of the parameters that the Lord wanted it to be. So it inevitably hurt me because I was giving myself away to people that didn't understand the gravity of what was happening. People that may not have even cared or may have been struggling, like is broken people trying to fill a void that nobody is ever going to be able to fill but the Lord. And I think seeing it on the other side, and not to say that I am perfect by any means, I still struggle with temptation of all the things that I feel like I've been able to kind of surrender to the Lord. But we're just broken people trying to fill a void. And we have to realize that we're going to be chasing after these meaningless things, exhausted and worn out, until we finally give it to the Lord and give ourselves to the Lord. And don't get me wrong, surrendering is hard. Surrendering is not just a one time thing. When you surrender something to the Lord, the enemy is going to take it and throw it right back at you. So it's going to feel like, I gave this thing to the Lord. Why am I dealing with it again? You're going to have to keep giving it back to Him. I remember when I was back in Tallahassee, one of my friends, we had went on like a fishing trip, and the idea of casting your cares onto the Lord. You are physically casting the line out into the water, and then you reel it back in. That's the enemy trying to give it back to you. But then you got to cast it again. And you have to keep casting it. And it's going to feel wearisome. It's going to feel exhausting. It's going to feel like, is this worth giving? It's going to feel like, well, dang, am I just going to live with this for the rest of my life? No, not if you keep giving it to the Lord. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take you being disciplined enough to keep giving it to Him and to stop trying to operate in your own strength. Because that's what I've done many times. You think that your own works and your own strength is what's going to get you to conquer the thing that you are dealing with, and it's not. You're going to end up losing that battle, and then it's just going to make you feel like you can't conquer it at all. You have to surrender it to the Lord, even if it's insecurity. If you don't feel secure in yourself, if you have dealt with abandonment issues, if you have dealt with mommy or daddy issues, if you have dealt with people taking you for granted, whatever the case may be that has taken a hit at who you feel you are and your self-love and your self-worth, you have to surrender that to the Lord as well. In this life, we have to surrender things to the Lord over and over and over and over again. And we can't get discouraged that the enemy keeps trying to throw it back at you, because he wants you to accept it. The Lord wants to carry our burdens. He wants us to cast his cares on him. He wants our burden to be light. And that's what he told me when I was on the walk. He was like, your burden is light. I'm just asking you to show up. I'm not asking you to show up a certain way. I'm not asking you to talk a certain way. I'm not asking you to dress a certain way. And yes, we can get into that in modesty and all that kind of stuff. But the point is, he just wants me to show up, imperfect and all, stuttering and all, feeling like I don't know what to talk about 2 minutes before turning on the camera and all. He just wants you to show up. He knows how you're going to show up, but that can free somebody. And I don't know what the calling on your life is, but if you feel like you know what the calling on your life is, then just show up. Imperfect, feeling raggedy, whatever you may want to say that justifies you not showing up. He doesn't care, because you showing up that authentically is going to free somebody. And that's what this is all about. Getting people to know the Lord and encounter him and have their own relationship with him. Our burden is light. He takes care of everything else. He takes care of how the planets rotate, of how the stars form, of how the ocean waves come on the shore. He takes care of it all. All we have to worry about is him and showing up when he wants us to. And I can't say that I fully have that down pat, because it is still a struggle for me. It's easy to find reasons as to why you don't need to show up right then, but delayed obedience is still disobedience. And it's not worth making excuses when somebody else's life can be at stake. In this life, we're called to be disciples and disciplers. So, whatever way the Lord wants you to disciple other people, we have to keep that as the focus. He needs to be the focus first and foremost. He needs to be the main focus. And then we're supposed to be glorifying the kingdom by bringing people to Him. And I'm not saying that it's always going to be easy, because it's not. It's going to be hard. It may call you to talk about some vulnerable things. It may cause you to be uncomfortable. And you may want to quit, but don't. I think that one thing that I have realized is that sometimes you may slow down, but don't stop moving. You keep pushing. You keep trucking along towards the goal, which is glorifying the kingdom of heaven. I remember one day I was working out, and the Lord kind of brought that to my attention. I was on a Stairmaster, and He was like, go for 10 minutes. And me, I was like, what you talking about? 10 minutes is crazy. I only ever get to like 7. And He was like, 10 minutes. So I kept going. And every time I wanted to stop, He was like, don't stop, just slow down. I'm walking at like 6 or 7. Put it down to 2. Put it down to 1. But don't stop. This walk is not always going to be easy. Our calling is not always going to be easy. But that doesn't mean that we should stop moving. Sometimes you slow down and you walk slower. Sometimes you crawl. But you keep moving. That's what showing up is. Showing up isn't saying, I'm always going to show up at a 10. And if I don't show up at a 10, I'm not showing up. No, showing up in your calling and in your purpose means that sometimes I'm showing up at a 10. Sometimes I'm showing up at a 7. Sometimes I'm showing up at a 1. And then I'm back at a 5. Maybe I'm at a 1 again. And then I'm at a 2. And then I'm at a 7 again. But we're still showing up. And that's all He asks for us to do. The Lord doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And that means that if He's called you, it's not time to start listing out all the reasons why you shouldn't be called, all the reasons why you're not worthy, all the mistakes you've made. We're talking to a God that already knows that. And yet, and still, He still calls you. He chose us because He loved us. Not because He needed us. Not because He needed anything from us. But because He loved us. And each one of us have a testimony that can free others. So I hope that you just take this as encouragement to keep moving. I hope you take this vulnerability that I did not want to show as encouragement to be vulnerable and to let the Lord use you in a way that will free other people and allow them to be vulnerable. It's a beautiful thing when you think about the fact that we are all so imperfect, but the Lord redeemed us, justified us, and called us to a great purpose. Just simply because He loved us. He chose you because He loves you. Your validation is in Him. Your worth is in Him. Everything you need is in Him. And all these other things are hell. I hope you all have a great week. Have a blessed week. And I'll see you all next time.